Good day, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO, and here at DDO Players. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculetta.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
I'm doing well, and hopefully everybody else is. And let us go into our game news, which is getting rather familiar, the latest issue of DDO Chronicle.
Eventually, we'll have some news. There should be some update news trickling out pretty soon, I hope.
We can hope. Well, what's in the Chronicle, then, at least?
In the Chronicle, your DDO, as we mentioned last week, they are back up. They have a green steel planner. For those of you that are doing your green steel crafting, that would not be us because we don't raid and stuff yet. So we're not doing any of that.
Oh, I was going to ask you, what is green steel?
Yeah, you can craft epic items, higher tier items, but you have to do raids to get the stuff that you need for it.
The necessary ingredients, yes.
That would not be us quite yet. Maybe someday.
Not yet.
Also, DDO Gamer looked at making a build with the most hits per second in a new blog post. So you can read all about that. If you're into min-maxing and you really want to do some crazy DPS, he was playing around with a build doing that. And we all like free turbine points, right?
I think everybody likes free turbine points.
MD Interactive is hosting another turbine point giveaway. All you need to do is click on the post in the Chronicle, and that will take you to the forum post. You basically just leave your character name and which server you're on, and you'll be entered to win. And really, as far as the Chronicle, that's just about it, actually, that really caught my eye this week.
Yeah, looks like that the rats, are those rats in the screenshot of the week? A yawning rat?
Yeah, I'm going to say the one looks like it's yawning. The other looks like it's just like staring at you. It's like upset you're looking at it. And the other one, I'm not sure what it's doing. So it's kind of an odd little screenshot.
An odd screenshot. All right. So let's go into the store sales. What's for sale this week?
We have a free sample through November 13th of 1 minute of time. Use coupon code TIME16. Once again, coupon code is TIME16, and you do get one of those per account. So as I always say, choose wisely. And for those of you that are wondering, what in the world is 1 minute of time?
Yeah, I would like to be enlightened on that. And
it's exactly what you think it is. It is an item you click on, and it instantly adds 1 minute of time to a challenge quest clock. So it's perfect for those times when you're so close to achieving that goal in that challenge, and you only need just 1 more minute. Word of caution, though, it is only usable once per party per challenge. So if you think you're gonna make it, but you're running out of time, that would be the opportune time to pop that, and your challenge timer clock will get 1 more minute. Hence the snazzy title of 1 more minute.
1 minute of time.
Also in the store this week, 20% off the following items: shared bank storage, character bank upgrades, storage bags, and the shared bank platinum vault. Also in the store through November 13th for a very limited release, plus 6 tomes.
All right then. And while you were going through that, I was in DDO changing the color of my die.
So it actually worked.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to wait till I'm in combat before to see how well it worked. But the option was there.
Okay. And that's, people are going, what are they talking about?
What are they talking about? Yes. There is an option on the UI panel to change the color of your die, of your combat die. But of course, since it's called a combat die, naturally you would expect that to come up in combat.
See, you got a little peek into the before the show banter that we have.
Yes. So let's go into the DDO Player site news, where we have another wonderful arcane adventure with Dorfin Fizzlebeard, where he went out and went into the main island, and he was trying to see how ugly a hat he could find, it looks like.
And I think he succeeded.
Yes, one of his funny ones is during a quest reward where all he was offered was a +3 robe, and he says, "Oh, what will I pick? Decisions, decisions." That's got to be the smallest number of items I ever see. Because usually I see at least two.
Yeah, usually you do get a little bit of a choice.
So I was a bit. I like this where he goes out there into a dungeon and says, "I was expecting this." So this big boss monster and says, "And I got this." Sure, he looks like this. Is that a scorpion or?
Yeah, it was. Looks like he found Rancor.
Oh yes. Oh, that's right. Because that's right. He got the name. That's right from the name in there when Rancor. He was expecting Rancor to be this big nasty boss. Yes. And of course, it was such a underwhelming experience when you found out what Rancor really was, because apparently hypocrisy killed it in 2 hits. So
And at least now he's with all of us, and he's getting to experience the wonderful world of kobold killing.
Yes, of course. You can't. You cannot, of course, go play DDO without killing a few kobolds along the side.
Well, of course. I mean, you have to kill kobolds. It's what it's all about.
Oh, that's because they still hate you. Yes.
Very good, Pinely. Very good.
Yes. So let's go into news beyond DDO. And the first of these is that there will be 2 D&D stories a year. I presume there's only going to be one for 2015 since they only started in the second half, and that's the whole thing about Tiamat and all that stuff. Is that what they mean by stories?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
How this news broke is Mike Merles, who of course is the senior manager for D&D, was interviewed on an Israeli RPG website, and I did link it in the, well, looks like I didn't link it in the article. I will link it in the article. I thought I did. And they were asked about the frequency of new D&D content that we could see. He said, this was the direct quote, "We're looking at 2 storylines a year. Right now, we have plans laid down for stories up through 2018, sorry. But then the key word is, or notice he said storyline and not campaigns. In the past, they were called adventures or they were called campaigns. Now they're calling them storylines." And he also did a Reddit Ask Me Anything where this same question was brought up, and he expanded on that even further. He says, let's say we wanted to do Sonics. We tied that to a campaign that you can play. Maybe one centered on mind flayers or a similar foe. The Sonic sourcebook would be the player's companion to the DM's mind flayer campaign. The source book would have all the info for creating Sonic characters along with world material for players who are creating characters for the Mind Flayer campaign. The player's book might also have a chapter written from an in-world perspective on Sonics and Sonic monsters. That kind of information that a character might have access to or have heard. You can expect us to do 1 or 2 such products a year to give people enough time to play through the campaign without overwhelming them with new options.
And I see that, all right, since Tyranny of Dragons is out already, of course, so there's talking about what's coming up in 215. It looks like they are returning to the Temple of Elemental Evil.
Yes, and I was excited to see that, actually, because I always like the Elemental Evil.
Ah, yes.
And basically, we've got the Elemental Evil Adventurers Handbook is due to come out March 17th. Also, the Prince of the Apocalypse, also on March 17th. And then the Elemental Evil Adventure number 2 is going to be released May or June of 2015.
I'm going to have to assume that they're going to have a more snazzy title by the time it gets released.
I would hope so.
Yeah. And Elemental Evil Adventure 2.
There was another interview that I read today, as a matter of fact. I can't remember what website it was on, where people ask him about older stuff, like maybe bringing back like a Greyhawk or a Ravenloft or a Dark Sun, and all he would say is they can't rule anything out at this point. All options are on the table.
Probably if they came out with something with Greyhawk, maybe it'll be advancing one of the stories or something like that, because you have these plots going on in Greyhawk that I have a feeling that have been held in suspension for these for 30 years.
Yeah, so I was excited to hear that we might have Ravenloft again, of course. So,
Oh, of course, of course, that's what you'd be waiting for.
of course, because
And we can't rule that out considering how they used the Ravenloft example at the beginning of the player's handbook.
exactly, and see, that's what got me really excited was when I read that. I was like, "Ooh, they're talking about Ravenloft. This might be a good sign." So
Yeah.
we'll see. Hopefully, we once again can run around Ravenloft. That would be great. I can get all my parties killed that I DM for. That'll be fun. I can't wait.
Yes. All right. And apparently they were all now what's this thing about gamehole.com?
There was it's a smaller convention called Gamehole Con that was held this weekend, and there was a D&D panel there, and Chris Perkins, who was on the Wizards team, was part of that panel, and we got quite a bit of news out of that. He said Wizards of the Coast fully plans on electronic versions of the rule books, but there is no timeline as of yet, and we have every intention of releasing the books in electronic versions. But once again, there is no date set for this.
All right. And also it's our intention to bring back the OGL. We just don't know when that's going to do that yet either.
And some of you might be wondering, what in the world is the OGL? That is the Open Gaming License. A quick sum up of that is that allows third parties to publish support material for a game. It was used in the past a lot with 3.5, some 3.1 stuff was done OGL, but most of it was 3.5.
I remember some 3.0 stuff from it. Like the early points on Freeport, for example, were 3.0.
Was okay.
Yeah, I just didn't like Freeport. I know that Freeport became a popular one, but I didn't like Freeport because I just felt that when you looked at the sample characters in the back, they were the most munchkin-y characters I had ever seen in my entire life. And you had to have munchkin-y characters to survive the first combat. And, that's supposed to be the thing, that your hook.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, and I know, I tried, and I don't know, it just felt like it was as tough as a boss fight. And I was like, all right, this is the opening to a campaign? So I never got hooked on the Freeport as a result. That was back in 3.0. And it looks like, that they're planning to bring that back. And, of course, the most famous thing that came out of the OGL is Pathfinder.
Yes, it was actually created around that. So if
it
wouldn't be for the OGL, we wouldn't have Pathfinder.
Right, because of the OGL, Pathfinder then when 4E came out, Pathfinder was being made. And that's sort of like, you say, the successor to 3E. While, of course, you know what the successor to 2E was?
Tell me.
Hackmaster.
Oh, I forgot all about Hackmaster.
Oh, yes. Well, that's because it started out as a fictitious game.
Yeah. Have you ever played it? It's really fun, actually.
Let's see. No, I've never had a chance to play it. I have the player's handbook, but I've never actually played it.
Now, are you talking about the original Hackmaster, or because they did update it? There is a newer version out, too.
Well, it would have to be the original version that I have the player's handbook to, because it certainly won't be the newer edition, because I bought it, I think, back around when it first came out.
And then also from the Gamehole Con, they tweeted on their official Twitter a unfolded DM screen, which we actually have not seen it yet. It's just been up for pre-order, but nobody's actually seen it. You can see it in the article I posted. It's a pretty sweet-looking DM screen, got a big dragon on it, so it's pretty awesome.
Hey, is that a Kobold in the back?
I thought it was. I couldn't tell because their picture was kind of tiny, but it kind of looked like to me it was.
Okay, so actually at first I thought it was maybe was a PC, but no, it looks like there are a couple other things that look like kobolds there, so they might be helping the dragon or something like that, which is possible since kobolds have been known to do that.
The DM screen will release on January 20th if you're interested in picking that up. And if that wasn't enough news to come out of this little teeny game convention, we have one other piece of news that is pretty big, actually.
Ooh.
Chris says the player's handbook was #1 for part of a week and in the top 3 for 2 weeks on Amazon charts. They've gone through, and he quotes, a few printings so far. He then said there isn't a New York publisher that wouldn't pass out if you told them the number. Yes, it's that impressive.
Ooh.
So apparently people are loving 5e.
All right, then. That takes care of our news segment. So let's go into what we did last week in DDO. So what did you do?
Well, I started out my week. If you listened to the show last week, you know our guest Alessa was on, and she threw down the gauntlet to challenge me to learn to love crafting in DDO. So she said she was going to take me under her wing and show me crafting. Well, we started that. I learned how to make a few things. I did find out I can make my own lockpicks, which is awesome. And I found out how to make grease traps and fire grenades, and I found out if I put the grease traps down, I could throw the fire grenades down and they catch fire. So that was pretty sweet. We went in the waterworks and put a couple outside of a door and then opened the door and let like 4 or 5 kobolds come out, and we just like torched them. It was a fun time.
You'll have to tell me how to do that, since I have a level 8 artificer who would love to.
I will show you.
Do that stuff.
I will pass on my knowledge.
All right.
And then also on my rogue, I went back out into Ataraxia's Haven. Still working on the Slayers out there. I'm 150 of 1,500. Oh, it's going to take forever.
And why are you doing this Slayer deed?
I really don't know, to tell you the truth. After about my 105th kill, I asked that very same question. And then I also attempted I found a dungeon entrance out there called Smuggler's Hollow. So I attempted to do that. I did pretty well. It wasn't that bad until I got to the very end of the dungeon, and basically you have to try to rescue somebody, but before you do that, you have to like go down this hallway and figure out which door they're behind. Well, there's a little small problem that as soon as you step into the hallway, about 8 kidnappers and assassins pop out.
Oh, fun.
So yeah, I was just toasted immediately. I couldn't. I tried the best I could, and my poor hireling rezzed me once, and then I died soon after that again, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. So I'll eventually attempt that again. Maybe I'll use my newfound knowledge of traps and setting things on fire, and I might try it that way.
Ooh.
And that's all I did on the rogue. My ranger rogue, of course, is what we do on Wednesday night. We did the Tomb of the Shadow Lord. That we did fairly easily. We didn't have much problems with that one. So we decided we would go on to the Tomb of the Shadow Guard. And I'll let you talk about what happened in the Tomb of the Shadow Guard, Pineleaf.
Oh, yes, the Tomb of the Shadow Guard. In case any of you don't know what that is, it involves a great deal of swimming. You would agree with that? And
that is an understatement.
Yes, okay, yes, that is a bit of an understatement. So you have a great deal of swimming, and of course, it's swimming where you don't have ready access to air. Therefore, finding areas where you could get a quick breath despite being underwater, and things like water breathing potions and stuff like that might come in handy. So our first attempt at getting through there might wind up getting us drowned because we got lost. But
in our defense, it's really easy to get lost down there.
Yes, okay, yes, it's really easy to get lost down there. So underwater and a place where it's easy to get lost, you could see what kind of fun combination that is. Finally, we navigated through that, got to a couple of places. Then we reached what I think is the first boss in that dungeon. And we get up there and they rip us completely to pieces.
And then again, you're really understating the way you say that.
Yeah.
It was a massacre. A pure, total massacre is what that was.
Yes, I'm just trying to say. And it sounds like that you need to bring 6 into this thing since they stopped scaling things up at 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if. Yeah, I don't know. It was just that was craziness. I thought the Party Crashers was craziness at the end of it with all those people, but that was nothing compared to this.
Yeah. So we were just ripped to shreds, and we decided, well, we'll call it down for there. Maybe if we ever do it again, it might be a turn to set it to casual or something like that, because I don't want to go through that again.
And the sad fact about it is, weren't we even like one level over what the level of the dungeon is?
No, I
Or
think it
were
was
we
the
on
level 8
level?
dungeon. No, we were on level.
Okay. Well, then I don't feel quite as bad about it then if we were actually on level.
Yeah, because I believe it was a level 8 dungeon and we were level 8 since I was on my artificer there. All right, now the other thing I did is after last week's show, I decided to create. Actually, no, I didn't actually create the character. The character already existed. It's a character that I took through the intro, where you meet Jeets and all that stuff. Came to Korthos Island and never had a chance to do anything. I completely had not yet done anything with that character, not even to that family crypt one. So I was just outside there, ready to do that quest. And I decided to take this character since I didn't even open up any DDO rolling dice. It means the character was still eligible to join the Lessa's guild because it was on the same server as her guild. So I decided to join her permadeath guild, and I ran through Korthos Island and a couple of quests on the harbor. I haven't had a chance to actually do any guild events yet and join any groups because I was just getting up to level 3 on there, but I should be able to next time I'm playing that character probably find someone and maybe do some group content there. And I'm starting to get some other ideas what to do with permadeath on the solo thing, in that what I'm planning to do is to formulate a new set of rules for my solo one. Since now I have an idea what a set of permadeath rules are like, it's going to come up with a set of rules and start afresh on that one on my other server there for those permadeath characters. It's not going to be the same as the permadeath guild because, well, it's a different experience since I'm soloing versus going with the group. And I plan to do a character a month when I do that. In other words, a class a month. So that means in December I plan to do the Artificer and then go through all the 13 classes.
Are you just gonna like do them randomly, or are you gonna do your dice roll to decide how you do them?
For that series, I'm going to do it in alphabetical order.
Okay, that would make sense, I suppose.
Yes. So that means the first one is going to be an artificer. The second one's going to be a bard, I guess, unless they're a bard. No, I guess barbarian would be before bard.
Your second attempt at a barbarian.
A second attempt at permadeath with the barbarian, and so therefore I'll do that in alphabetical order. And that means that when I get to F for favorite soul, I'm going to have to buy the character class, but I should have enough points at that time. And that's it for that. So therefore, we'll go into donations. We do not have any donations, and just to let you know that we have changed our donation system. It used to be through PayPal or something like that, but now it is through Patreon. And in order to donate through Patreon, just go to DDO Players and simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. And there you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be on an episode of DDO Players News.
And you want to come hang out with us on DDO Player News.
Oh, of course. You want to be on the in crowd, right?
That's right. See, only the cool people are on DDO Player News. Conform to the peer pressure.
Yes. All right. Let's see. We have giveaways. So pledge $1 or more, of course, you get a thank you tweet. $5 or more a month is the podcast mention. Let's see. All right. You can be a guest for $10 or more a month. All right. So.
See, $10 well spent.
Yeah, that's $10 a month.
But it's money well spent just to be able to hang out with us.
Yes. All right.
Come on, Pine Leaf, sell it. Pine Leaf, sell it. Come on.
Let's go into feedback. Yes. Anyway, you certainly want to be on a podcast with Draculetta. How about that?
Hey, there you go.
There you go.
I like it.
Yeah, you can have a trip to Ravenloft.
But Ravenloft, once you're there, it's really hard to leave. Just saying.
Yes, that's right. Yes, check in, but they don't check out. So let's go into feedback. Our iTunes review, we did not have any, but if you would love to give one, we would welcome your support. But we do have a featured comment sent by Mick Wigan, and that is listening to DDO Players News number 6. Wait, what? There's dice in DDO? Good, I figured that out now.
And I did respond to his tweet. I guess he either never paid attention or he somehow had it turned off. He didn't know about the combat dice.
Right.
So now I have set him straight and he can see the combat dice now.
Yes, and Now that I finally figured out how to change the color of the combat dice, maybe I can see what's looking. I'm trying to see if I could get it to as close to a pine green as possible.
Well, of course you are.
Of course I am.
And just in case anybody is wondering how to do that, how did you change that color, Pineleaf?
All right. I went to the options panel, which is you hit by hitting escape when you get the option panel to log out and all that stuff. And one of the selections there is options, and then you bring up UI options, and then when you scroll down, there is a selector for choosing the color of your combat dice.
Well, I am going to do that as well and change mine to as close as I can to get to blood red. So that
A sanguine red, yes.
I like it.
Very well. You can contact us by emailing us at podcast@ddoplayers.com, and you can also follow us at Twitter. The Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Draculetta at Draculetta_72, and Pineleaf at Pineleaf Meals. And you could also follow our shows live on Mondays at 8:30 p.m. server time. We have DDO Players News, and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. server time, we have Locho Players News, and server time is the same as United States Eastern Time. And that is all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf Niels reminding you to loot those treasure chests.